Welcome to the Chanel Ashby Podcast, Episode 7, on the EIP Network, Excellence in Porn. Talent on loan from my cock. Each week, we will be bringing you the best and worst of internet erotica in a review format, along with curious tidbits that we find interesting. In addition, we will once again freely and liberally use, whenever we feel like it, the 7 words that the FCC dictates cannot be used on television or radio. These words, in case you are unfamiliar, are shit, piss, fuck, cunt, cocksucker, one of my favorites, motherfucker, and tits. We hope you enjoy the show, and as usual, we welcome listener comments sent to chrisplove69@gmail.com. Hi, Chanel.
Hi, Chris.
How are you?
I'm not good today.
Right, you got that injury from the Taiwanese basket.
Well, the strap on,
Right.
the basket, it was too much.
Right, listeners, we were in New York last week, and we had set up shop in Times Square, where I set up my folding table down on the street to sell the Wilbur. And then, Chanel had some private business to do with some private contractors that she was working with.
That's true.
And had an injury.
And Obamacare is no good.
Right. That's no.
No.
You need the blue cock and blue shield, like healthcare plan.
And unfortunately, I don't have that. So
Right.
I got to rely on the Obamacare, which is really just having a little midget walk on your back.
It's a bitch being self-employed.
It is.
Right. So, but it was fun being in New York for like 4 hours, and then we were ready to leave.
It was a great 4 hours, and the rest of it kind of blew chunks.
Right. I mean, the traffic was so bad in Manhattan that the batteries on your panty vibrator ran out. We had to park in a parking garage and find a little bodega to buy more batteries.
We did, because otherwise I get very cranky.
Right. And so it was a rough weekend. But I sold a lot of Wilburs. It's amazing that apparently, you can sell the Wilbur right on the street and nobody says anything.
I think it made people feel happier.
Well, I think I made a lot of people happy then.
You did, and especially the trannies that we all
Right.
saw there in Times Square.
Yeah, you saw 12 of them, and 6 of them bought the Wilbur. It was great.
They were your customers.
Right.
That's your demographic.
That's my customer base right there. So it was a good time had by all, except for your injury.
Correct.
Right.
But it was worth it.
I think so. But this week we've got a lot going on, don't we?
We do. We've had a really busy week catching up.
Right. And this week you're going to be doing the romance review.
Oh, God.
Very exciting.
Right.
And
That's another reason to not feel good.
Right. We'll be getting to that later in the show. But first up, I read Taken by the Hunter by C.M. Hartley. And as he points out, C.M. stands for Chance Macho.
Not cunt muncher?
No.
Are you sure it's not cunt muncher?
No, he seems to write a lot of male-on-male porn.
Cock muncher?
Cock muncher might be more appropriate. And he puts up a very fancy picture of himself in a suit because, as he says, he can be fancy when he wants to. So
Good to know.
Right, anybody cares.
I bet he really looks like the dude on The Simpsons from the comic book store.
Right, in a tight t-shirt with his stomach hanging out underneath.
Worst porn ever.
That's what I was saying after I finished reading his stuff. Actually, I guess the porn wasn't so bad. The storyline I had a little trouble with because the storyline was, once again, paranormal erotica. So it was about a dude that had been trapped at the top of a mountain for 100 years, and all he could think about was that he wasn't getting any cock.
For 100 years? Is he immortal?
No, but as long as he's trapped there, before the warlock comes back, he doesn't age. So the premise is that he has to trap someone else on the mountain by handing over the lantern. But when the hunter shows up, he is so enthralled with the dude's cock that he forgets to like hand over the lantern, and he wakes up in a puddle of cum, and it's like, oh, I'm still here. So
don't you hate when that happens?
I do, and apparently he can just come and come and come, because the hunter showed up like right after he was done masturbating, and then he was like hard again as the hunter like bent him over and fucked him royally. Now there seems to be a whole series of taken by, insert word here, that Mr. Hartley has put out. Now I don't really have a problem with the writing, because for guy on guy it was moderately hot. I have a problem with the editing. So you buy what is like a 40-page book, but like 7 pages are all about how he is Chance macho, and then you've got 4 or 5, 6 pages of just blank pages. It's almost like it was just putting in pages as filler.
That's cheap.
Right, it's like cheating.
It is. It's like cheating. That's to waste pages so that if you are a Kindle Direct author, although this has changed now that Amazon's changed their Kindle Direct policy. Porn Apocalypse has eliminated this, but it used to be you got paid per page read. So if you threw in 10 blank pages or filler pages, that still counted. So authors that do that are unfortunately making money it's cheating. You need to get, if you paid for a 40-page book, you need to get 40 pages worth.
Right. So I'm going to give that like 3 boners, but call shenanigans on him. So beware if you're buying his work that you may get filled with a bunch of empty pages. That's very distracting when you're trying to beat off too.
Right.
Because it's like all of a sudden it's like, oh, nothing there. So, and that's not good. So I also read, now this I was actually pretty excited about, because I have this thing for the older ladies.
Right. You like the grandmas.
I do.
They give you cookies.
They give me cookies, and yeah, right. And as long as you show up at grandma's house with a bunch of lube, you're good to go. So, but I read 50 Shades of Grey Hair by Bobby Grove, and I was very excited to read it, except, Bobby Grove is just a big old faggot. And apparently a big old English faggot, because as he points out in 2 pages at the beginning of his book, he dresses like a woman, he acts like a woman, but doesn't necessarily identifies as a woman, but doesn't want to be a woman. I don't understand that.
Oh, just want to say, hi, English faggots. Thank you for downloading so much sissy porn.
We love you all. We really do. And there'll be a lot more coming out soon, because that's Chanel's go-to writing. But this dude is like, I don't need 3 pages of be nice to everybody. Get to like the dirty stuff. And then it's like 40 pages of basically him just snuggling with an old lady and not doing anything.
So it was almost romance.
It was old person romance, and which is okay, because I'm 62, so I get that. But
you need a grandma to snuggle you.
Right, and give me cookies and hot chocolate. But give me some spank bank stuff, dude. I mean, you want to dress as a chick? Get more power to you, but Jesus Christ, show me something. Nothing there.
Is it possible that maybe it was really supposed to be romance and not really erotica?
Well, if Bobby wants to write romance, don't put it under erotica, and don't call it, the answer to 50 Shades of Grey, and talk about how Ted's going to get spanked by Emma, and then it never happens.
That's disappointing.
Right? So that is like boner down, dude. So go put on your panties and write something worth reading. God.
So didn't 50 Shades of...
50 Shades of Disappointment.
So nothing there. No boners?
No.
Not even half a boner?
Nothing.
Okay.
Just a lot of like page turn, page turn, page turn.
Holding your dick and nothing happens.
Oh, right. And nothing worse than holding your dick and nothing's going on. I mean, right, guys? We've all been there. So, now what I did read that I was really excited about was The Kinky Clinic, The First Day by Amber Burns.
I kind of like that title.
I like the cover,
Clinic.
too. It had like a profile of a really hot chick. And it starts out with Nurse Laura lamenting over the fact that she had to send in full nude pictures of herself to an undisclosed clinic for health reasons. Because you nurses out there, that probably happens all the time, right?
Right? I thought all nurses had to do that.
Well, that's how you interview, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. I don't even call you in until I get full naked pictures.
Right.
That's
So it seems
standard in our industry.
It seemed perfectly normal to me. But she lamented over it, but was so happy that she got the job at Dr. Howard's clinic, which is a well-known and respected clinic in the county. And, of course, unbeknownst to her, Dr. Howard has a very exclusive clientele of gentlemen that need to get off. So her first client is this nice gentleman that she walks in the examining room, and he's stroking himself off. So...
Right there in the doctor's office?
Right there in the doctor's office.
Wow.
So she runs out of the room and confronts Dr. Howard about it. Dr. Howard whips out his 9-inch dick and shows her what being nursing's all about.
Ooh.
Right? But of course, now, for you gentlemen, that this is categorized as a BBW because Laura's a little self-conscious about her being in an extra large size, and all the other nurses are just tall and good-looking, but seem to have disinterest in taking cock from all their clients, whereas Laura has no problem being DP'd by the end of the story. So, though I'm not necessarily about the BBW, I have to say that this was 5 boners up, and she does seem to write quite a bit, so I may have to look at more of her stuff.
Oh, what was that author again?
That author of The Kinky Clinic, The First Day, is Amber Burns.
Oh, so she writes a lot of BBW, but
Right.
kinky stuff, not like BBW romance.
Not romance. And she doesn't seem all pretentious about the big girls. She kind of just references it to make the formula work, and then gets on to the fucking, which is really what you want in your spank bank smut.
Right? So that was like 5 boners for you?
5 boner. My first 5 boner,
Right?
I think. Yeah, right?
You're going to have to save that and read it again.
I know. I was all set to, like, slam it, but then I ended up slamming myself up and down, right? I was surprised.
That's good for you, though.
Right? Another tube sock going to have to get clean now. So now you read something too, right? You read ABDL stories, short stories for adults who love diapers by Kelsey Williams.
I did.
That's a long title.
It is a very long title. Probably a little too long. But, for people that are really into adult baby stories, there's not too many out there. So they're probably willing to do that. And I happen to really like adult baby stories, but normally I prefer my adult babies, and I write my adult babies as little sissy boys who need their mommy to spank them and
clean their diaper and then give them a handy,
right, exactly.
You don't like a handy.
Especially when you're a little sissy baby boy, and then cry a lot and feel ashamed about how mommy made them come in their little diapers
and sit in their poo.
And sit in their poo and whatnot. So anyway, it wasn't exactly that kind of story. The first thing that was wrong with this book was the spanking noises. So now when you're writing a spanking scene, yes, it's a visual thing, it's an audio thing, it's a sensual thing. You need to know what's happening during the spanking. You should feel it. You should know what someone's hearing. How do they feel? Are they ashamed? How much does it hurt? But
So like smack.
well, you should describe it, but I don't want old Batman sound effects like plow or blam or slam.
I've been on the receiving end of being spanked a few times, And I don't think I would ever use plow
Well-
as an adjective to describe or hear what was happening.
I agree. So plow, plow, plow was a lot of the spank noises in this particular
Right,
book.
It's like you wait for the Joker to show up or something.
Exactly. I was waiting for a fight scene, and that's very distracting. If I happened to have been masturbating at this point, I would have had to stop because that wouldn't have worked for me. Other than the sound effect words, which I think should be avoided. The stories are very typical. Lots of pee-pee, and the babies are girls, except for one. But so mostly if you are an adult baby girl or you like to read about adult baby girls, this is what you would probably like. Lots of pee-pee, lots of reasons to have to pee-pee, and some humiliation from your daddy that's making you pee-pee in your
Right,
pants.
and then you gotta get punished.
Right, you do have to get punished for
Pow,
pee-pee
pow,
in your
pow.
pants.
See, that's distracting. That's not gonna work.
Now, what I was going to say is that one particular moment that I did think was very well written and quite hot was when the daddy makes the adult baby girl stand in the corner with her panties down.
Oh, that could be hot, right?
Right, and she's, she knows daddy's looking at her with no panties.
Right.
So, a little bit of humiliation there. I thought that wasn't bad. I'm going to give it 2.5 boners. If you like a lot of pee-pee in the pants and diapering without too much sex, then this is probably going to be good for you. She also is on Amazon. Look for Spanking and Discipline for Naughty Girls Who Need Diapers.
Okay, and then the last story I read was Covered by the Billionaires by Maxine Saint. Now, this is the fairly typical story of the young girl just fresh out of school, running out of rent money, who gets a job as an executive assistant for a billionaire.
That's what everyone does, right?
Right, except the difference here is that this billionaire wants her to basically be part of a billionaire gangbang. Because everybody knows that billionaires all hang out together and then gangbang young virginal girls.
Right?
But give them a lot of cash, so it's okay.
Right, of course.
Yeah, so...
It's like the whole Republican National Committee.
Right, it's like Steve Jobs and Bill Gates.
Probably not Steve Jobs,
Warren
only because
Buffett.
he's dead.
He's not really dead.
Oh!
He's
just full-time gangbang
he's
now?
got so much money that he's already been cured, but the giant government conspiracy can't tell people that they have a cure for cancer because it would bankrupt the medical industry. Don't you read anything on the internet?
Porn.
Right. Well, okay. They don't really talk about the conspiracies in porn. But anybody who knows anything knows that Steve Jobs isn't dead. He's
Right.
hiding out in the billionaire gangbang penthouse.
Is
in New
Elvis
York.
there?
No, Elvis is actually dead, but he only died like 2 years ago.
Right?
So
From fatness?
right, couldn't get the jumpsuit on anymore. So sorry about that. I was coughing a little bit. It's just gets to me sometimes just thinking about the billionaire gangbang club.
Right? Don't you wish you were part of the Billionaire Gangbang Club?
I do. Well, if I sell enough Wilburs someday, maybe I will be. We can only hope. But so, Covered by the Billionaires was actually one of the... We talked about gangbangs last week and how hard it is to write. And this actually, he did a relatively good job writing, or I should say she, Maxine, did a pretty good job writing about the gangbang because there were like 6 of them, all like just totally taking this girl. And of course she really liked it because they always really like it.
Of course.
Because secretly she had been hoping for just this same thing to happen. How fortuitous for her that she came across some billionaires so she could zero all her student loans and just make it all right with the world.
Wait, there were 6?
6 billionaires, right?
At the same time?
Right. It's like the GAO convention right there.
So, DP, and in the ass?
Yes.
And in the mouth?
Yes.
And in 2 hands.
Yes.
I still missing 1 dick.
No, they did reference someone on the sidelines just waiting to get his turn.
Oh, okay.
So,
I just wanted to clarify.
Right, no,
Got to do the math.
Right.
This is the only math I can do.
The only math worth doing, Chanel. You don't even worry about counting more than like 6 or 8. Well, 8 if you're at the Super 8.
Exactly.
And you don't have to go to 7 because you don't count yourself.
Right.
So that's how it goes. So I'm going to give this 2.5 boners. And of course, the further adventures of this young woman with the billionaires are further chronicled on in more stories. She seems to like the billionaires.
Well, and who doesn't?
Right, though I will say that none of them had 18-inch cocks, so I don't know how realistic it really is.
Right? See, that's just bad writing.
Right. I mean, and not keeping up with the times. Maxine, you're not going to be relevant if you keep writing about 8-inch cocks. It's just not going to work.
That's not even worth unzipping for.
Right?
8-inch cocks. Complete waste of time.
Right? You don't even leave the house for an 8-inch cock, do you?
I'm not leaving the house for a big one. It's coming delivered.
Oh,
and
that's
gift
right.
wrapped.
You just have it brought right to you.
Amazon.
To your dungeon. Yeah. So,
that's what the drone is for.
Oh, that's what delivering cock.
Yes.
Right. That's why they haven't released it yet.
24/7.
The world's not ready for cock right to your door. So,
I am.
Well, you've been getting it delivered for years. So let's see. So in short, we had ABDL stories by Kelsey Williams. You gave that 2.5 boners.
I did.
Kinky Clinic by Amber Burns. She got 5 boners.
That's pretty hot.
That is pretty hot, right? Covered by the Billionaires by Maxine Saint. That's 2 boners. Because that's pretty typical. There's nothing really special there. 50 Shades of Grey Hair. No boners. Bobby, you queer bait in a skirt. We love all you queer baits in skirts, but Jesus Christ, write something good. And then Taken by the Hunter, paranormal erotica, male on male, 2 boners.
Not a very bonery week.
No, but we've got some good stuff for next week.
Right.
So we're hoping that we can bring you better erotica next week, but we can only read so much.
Especially when we have to masturbate.
Right.
It's cutting into masturbation time.
And you got to really be careful that you don't get chafing.
Right, that ruins it for the rest of the day.
Right.
That's a terrible
Maybe the
thing.
week.
Ugh, who's rubbing themselves that much? Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot. Who am I talking to?
Right, I am.
You get your pants down right now.
I do. Every time I'm with you. So now we've got our sex phrase of the week, where every week we continue our tour of America as we profile sex terms that reference states and cities all over the U.S. And this week, we see the Kennebunkport surprise. So now I know all of us think of Kennebunkport in reference to the Kennedys, and
right.
I'm sure.
So the surprise is
right.
You got to blow like 6 of them.
Well, you're blowing something all right, but you're not blowing a Kennedy. So, okay, what you do is you sneakily and secretly fill your mouth to near bursting with New England clam chowder, and then while performing cunnilingus on a woman, you simultaneously punch both of your cheeks, thus blowing the clam chowder up the woman's vagina. So, if you're a fan of New England clam chowder, as I am, and also a fan of vagina, also as I am, then you really get like your 2 favorite things at once.
Really? Do you think that you'd want to do that? Are you recommending doing the Kennebunkport surprise?
I am. And for all you hipsters out there, I believe you can get a gluten-free version of New England clam chowder so that, you don't have all that gluten going into you. Because that's, the hipsters, they're very big on no gluten.
Do you think that would work with Manhattan clam chowder?
That's fancy.
A tomato-based soup?
Right. You know what? It would work really well on a woman, like 5 days a month. When
wow.
Did not see that coming.
I didn't.
No,
Do you have to have some crackers then?
Just to clean your teeth.
Right. This is going in a bad direction, Crispy.
Well, that's a Ken and Bunkport surprise. I'm gonna find something that deals with periods that references one of our cities. I'm gonna come across that
like
at some point.
Pittsburgh period something.
Or maybe we make one up ourselves.
Maybe we should.
Right.
One of our listeners should have a suggestion.
Write to chrisplove69@gmail.com for any and all suggestions on any of our topics on the show. Or even if you have a good author that maybe we should read and review, please feel free to email us.
Or if you have an 18-inch dick.
Definitely email us at chrisplove69. Speaking of 18-inch dicks, now granted this is not 18 inches, but it's 9 inches times 2. We came across a very interesting article this week. And this article, if you'd like to actually read it and look at it, was on iflscience.com. And what you do is once you get there, just type in man born with 2 penises in their search engine. But I was very intrigued by this.
Right? He was born with 2 9-inch dicks.
Right.
So,
and they actually have the pictures of the 2 9-inch dicks.
Right? And they both work.
Is it highly functional? So his Twitter feed, in case you actually wanted to follow him, where did I put it? Here it is, Double Dick Dude at Diphalic Dude on Twitter. So, and he's got actually his pictures on there of his dicks. Now, he apparently is bisexual.
Yes, and he's a garbage dicks.
Right.
Plural.
He's had over 1,000 partners. But, shit, he's got 2 dicks.
Right, exactly. So, I mean, like, you could do the couple thing, you could do whatever. I wonder, wouldn't it be ironic if when he was with a dude, he was a bottom?
That would be ironic. He does say that he is in a committed relationship with a man and a woman, and that the only person he can cheat on those 2 people with, oddly enough, yes, James Franco.
Really?
Right.
He's got a hall pass with James Franco?
He does have a hall pass for James Franco.
Okay.
Yeah, on Reddit, he answers a bunch of questions. But oddly enough, he actually wrote a book, Doubleheader, My Life with 2 Penises, which has been sitting on like the Amazon, or no, Kindle, #1 bestseller for Kindle in 3 different categories for like a year.
Right.
Well, who doesn't want to know about a dude with 2 dicks?
Especially 2 good ones. It
Right.
doesn't really seem fair when there's so many dudes walking around with one that's kind of...
Right.
But, you know, maybe he was a cockroach in another life and he's just getting good karma or something.
Yeah, he's getting his pay now for it, right? But it can't be easy by pants.
This dude doesn't wear pants.
He doesn't have to, does he?
No, he doesn't have a job. He doesn't wear pants.
Apparently, 1 in every 5.5 million people will be affected by this condition known as dysphalia. Dysphalia?
I know that if you have a 2-headed penis, it's a hemipenis.
Right.
But diphalic? Diphalic, I guess would be
the correct term.
You are diphalic, but you have diphalia?
Diphalia. So if my math is correct, and there's 6 billion people in the world, and half of those are women, and then it's 1 in every 5.5 million, that would mean there's about 550 dudes out there with 2 dicks.
Squirrel.
Right.
I lost you.
Right.
All I heard was 2 dicks.
550 dudes with 2 dicks, right? Yeah, and we met one of them. So
there you go.
Feel free to look it up. It's actually pretty interesting. They do reference the female version of this, which is actually called uterus dialephus, and that is a woman with 2 vaginas, and also, oddly enough, 2 uteruses. So she could actually be pregnant in both vaginas. But there's a 28-year-old woman in England who actually did a interview You can find it on YouTube. And she lost her virginity twice to the same dude. But you know what? I bet you the dude didn't call her back either time.
Does she have 2 sets of fallopian tubes?
Yes.
Wow, that's a lot of, junk in one small area.
Right. They actually said that she needs to be very careful about not getting pregnant in both uteruses.
Wow, right? Because you'd be ginormous. You'd probably burst.
Right, like Alien. She'd be like Sigourney Weaver with
Holy
coming
shit,
out.
right? You could get pregnant in one uterus and be like 6 months along. And then get pregnant in the other uterus.
Right.
Fuck my life.
Yeah. No. Talk about special needs kids.
Oh my God.
So we thought that was pretty interesting, and you guys should look it up if you think it's interesting too. Now, a couple other things that we came across was we were pretty amused here that Ashley Madison got hacked this week.
That is pretty funny.
Right.
Although it's a big chance that you take when you cheat. Yeah. The internet's really never as secure and confidential as one might think. You go on Amazon, then go on Facebook. See what ads are on Facebook. Right. After you've been on Amazon. Somebody knows what the fuck you're looking at all the time.
That's actually a company that does that. And what they do is they look at your IP address and then watching what you buy, and then they post ads to you all day.
Great.
Referencing those things. And so technology, it's a dangerous mistress. It really is.
Well, and of course, there's always a chance in any kind of circumstances, whether you're in a committed relationship or not, that you're out looking for sex. That's one of those things that can break bad for you regardless of how you do it. However, if you're married and you're out looking for an affair, you're going to get caught sooner or later.
Right. That's why I go old school.
Right.
Right. I'm just at the truck stop. So, and rest areas, those are good too.
Well,
right.
That's probably one of the reasons why you have how many ex-wives now, Chris P?
8.
Yeah.
But none of those had to do with that.
Right. You were totally faithful.
Sure.
There you go. Right. Yeah.
See?
Model husband.
Heard it here first.
Model husband. Yeah.
So now the other thing that we were both very amused by was the wank band put out by Pornhub, which, and you guys can look this up by going to pornhub.com/devices/wankband number 5.
Or just Google wank band.
Sure, you could do that too.
Right, because nobody's going to do... what the fuck?
Well, no, you go to that website if you want to register to be a wank band tester.
Oh, so what is a wank band tester?
Okay, it's kind of like a Fitbit, or an Apple Watch, except you're going to put that on your wrist and you're going to plug any of your electronic devices in. And so through the motion of masturbation, you're generating electricity to recharge your phone or your laptop. So the more you masturbate, the more you recharge. You're saving the environment.
No way.
Oh, way. Right? And so...
Who invented this?
Pornhub.
That's excellent.
Right.
Shout out to Pornhub.
Right. I think I could probably, generate enough power for a small Midwestern city.
Probably.
Like Kankakee or the Quad Cities, somewhere in there. I think would be really, really sweet.
Maybe not in the summertime with the air conditioning.
No, right. But I bet you that dude with 2 dicks could, because he'd have both fists going. And so...
That's a good question. Does he masturbate with both hands? Does he have to masturbate both dicks?
Is he ambidextrous?
Right? And does he ever really need to masturbate?
No, he probably has someone masturbate for him. He just goes, hey, you, look at this. Stroke me. Okay. Doesn't matter who it is. So, that's right. But that was pretty interesting. They've got a video up on YouTube. You can look at it. I don't know when they're going to release it, but it's been a big thing on the internet. So, if you're interested in beating off and saving the environment, goddamn fucking hipsters, then maybe you should look at the Wank Band. So, and then lastly, with new in porn, the Dick Striker book broke through 1,000 on the Amazon. Just so you know, Amazon will tell you where your book is in the rankings at any given time. That number may change at any given time also based on sales, but Dick Striker, Attack from the Rear, broke the top 1,000 in action adventure, sci-fi fiction.
Correct.
Right, we're very excited. And there'll be a new Dick Striker book coming out in the next week.
Yes, The Fearsome Foursome.
Right. So, it's good that Chanel's working as hard as she is.
Lots of cougars. Cougar action.
Dick Striker, greatest American hero, billionaire, 18-inch cocked dude.
Right?
Yeah, we even were thinking that Dick Striker should have a theme song. So we were thinking maybe that. Right? Who's not holding out for a hero? An 18-inch cock hero. Right? Right. That's right.
Maybe.
He's gotta be strong and he's gotta have an 18-inch cock.
Maybe. I'm still not sold on that song. I think we could do better.
You're thinking maybe some Kanye?
I'm just thinking, I hated that song back when it was popular.
Right, when it came out on Footloose and it was Kevin Bacon dancing around an empty barn all by himself.
Right, Kevin doesn't deserve the last name of Bacon.
Right. Yeah, I'm joining the Church of Bacon, by the way, just so you know.
That was interesting. I want to join the Church of Bacon, too.
Right.
Do we get free bacon for joining the Church of Bacon?
That would be excellent if when you join, they sent you a pound of bacon.
Right? Just to commence your Sabbath.
Of bacon. No, we're very excited to talk about our featured fetish of the week. We referenced it last week. We were going to talk about bronies. And boy, were we surprised, weren't we?
Oh my goodness. Well, you hear bronies and you figure, okay, it's a bunch of dudes doing something perverted with My Little Pony, right? That's what I thought. But I was completely wrong.
That doesn't happen very often, Chanel.
Well, not usually about porn stuff, but so, okay, there's pony play, which is a BDSM type of role play. It's very dom submissive. The submissive is going to be a pony.
Right. They've got a tail up their butt and...
Well, they have a butt plug that's attached to a tail. So it looks like a tail, but it's in their ass.
Right. And they've got the reins.
And you've got reins and saddle. And you usually wear hair. And, sometimes if you're, let's say, a very fancy pony, you have a Pegasus wings. Or perhaps you're even a unicorn.
Right.
And you can have hooves and the whole, you can take it about as far as you can take it. I was actually on FetLife this week looking at a pony group, and one of the pony people posted that you can have your own custom made pony costume done. So if you wanted to be, and I shit you not, I'm not actually making this up, a zombie pony. Or
they're really taking that zombie thing a little too far
right,
at that point, isn't it?
Pirate pony.
Well, I love pirates.
And if you're a butt pirate, and you're also a pony.
And probably most of them are.
Right? Why not?
We love butt pirates, but not necessarily, well, hey, whatever.
So in this kind of role play, the submissive is going to be the pony, and your dominant is going to be your trainer or your rider. And it depends. It's all over the place. Some people are cart ponies, which
where they pull a cart.
You're going to pull a cart. You're going to learn how to pull a cart. There's riding ponies, and that might be more sexual, if that's more sexual play. There's also show ponies. So that's going to be all the dressage, the hair, and the costuming.
You know how they always have like the giant dog show every year on TV?
Exactly. You're going to be a fancy kennel club human pony.
Yeah, I'd like to see that on TBS.
It'd be better than the dog show.
Right.
So when the dominant's training the pony, you can be learning to trot and pull and gallop and, any kind of training that a real pony would receive. These people do with their human ponies. Also, something to keep in mind that as a pony, you don't talk. So there's no safe word. There's a safe gesture, and that needs to be something that Now, personally, if it was me and I was the human pony and something was about to break bad, I would be like, get the fuck off me. I'm Mr. Ed, bitch. But, for people that really take that seriously, and I have known lots of submissives that won't break a role play even when they should. You're going to need to make sure you have a gesture that's worked out ahead of time. But now, getting back to bronies. So, we thought, or especially I thought, bronies, perverts that fuck when they're in horse costumes, right?
Like My Little Pony.
Right, exactly. However, totally wrong. So, My Little Ponies was a popular toy back in the 80s. I had My Little Ponies. And I wasn't really too much into dolls, but I liked My Little Ponies because I did their hair all crazy.
You still like My Little Ponies?
I do like My Little Ponies. I think they're, they play with their hair. It's kind of cute. So Hasbro brought out a new My Little Pony movie in 2010, and adult dudes happened to watch this My Little Pony movie with probably their daughters, their nieces,
or by themselves in the basement in the dark.
Or by themselves in the basement in the dark. And then they started going online and chatting about it. Because apparently the basis for the movie was friendship. And they thought...
friendship.
Right? And so they thought, this is a kick-ass movie. So they started talking about it. Now, these bronies have started quite the online community. It kind of crosses all sorts of barriers. There's other video games where these bronies have kind of like congregated.
Right.
And they hang out and
they put pictures of themselves up with the multicolored hair.
Yes, and I think they do like the Comic-Con thing, and they're dressing up like their favorite
convention.
Right, they're dressing up in their like favorite My Little Pony character, and but totally separate from pony play. Although I'm going to go out on a limb and say there's probably one or two bronies that actually do, enjoy.
Right, there's always one or two. We're like, hey dudes, get a hold of us, let us know. But what's really interesting is it's kind of like, I wonder if it's like the Jets versus the Sharks from like West Side Story, the bronies and the ponies. Throwing down, like, we're not into, like, your kinky shit. And the ponies are like, hey, until you get a cock up your ass, you don't know what you're missing.
I'm pretty sure that the bronies are peaceful because the whole, friendship is great aspect of the movie.
I would guess, based on that, that they're probably going to get their ass kicked then by the ponies. If they're all about peace and love and whatnot.
Well, and it's possible. I did want to also tell you, this is something new that I didn't know about. And I do need to actually find out more about the actual event. But while I was on FetLife in the Pony Play group area, I learned that there is an international Pony Play championship. And it is coming up in 2016. Now, I don't know if the one for 2015 is already over with, but I didn't read about that. But I will make a note here to follow up and see if that's something that's in the U.S. Because pony play is also another one of those things that's more popular and more accepted in the UK than it is in the US.
They're all about dressage and equestrian lifestyle.
Apparently, it's more, like if you're more into horses in real life, it's also more of a sexual fetish. But we're going to find out more about the International Pony Play Championship. Apparently, more than 100 ponies come with their human trainers, and they put on a whole show, and people come and watch it, dressed like they're going to the Kentucky Derby.
Wow, big hats and everything.
Big hats and glasses and mint juleps.
That sounds like it might be fun.
It might be fun if that's your type of play.
It would be interesting, I think, to see.
Right? I think I haven't seen anything like that for puppy play, but I know that puppies are another one. They're very popular. And why not? If you're cool with it and you want to be completely out with your play, go for it.
I think it would be interesting to get some email from the people who are into like horse or puppy play and like get their views on it.
Right. I think it's an interesting idea because I think maybe for some people, being non-human during sex, however you need to do a role play, is actually easier for them to get to their subspace. It's kind of like when people are inanimate objects, like a footstool.
Right.
I think it's easier for you to get into your subspace that way. And maybe since I've never been a pony, nor have I been with a pony, I wouldn't know that for sure. But I would love to hear from someone who is a pony, just to find out more about, where's your head when you're in a pony play situation.
Right. So feel free to email us at chrisplove69@gmail.com. Now, I'm very excited because Chris P's Romance Review of the Week, where every week we review a romance story, and this is a genre that is most commonly purchased and discussed by middle-aged fat women who can be seen fondling their Kindle in one hand and a Godiva candy bar in the other. It's a truly painful weekly exercise for us, but we do this for you, the listener, so you don't have to go through it. Now this week, I took a break and let Chanel do it, and you actually reviewed what you thought was going to be something really fun and hot called Hymens and Peckers. Now, obviously, our Lorelei, the author, it must be a doctor in her other life to use such, highly technical terms like hymen and peckers in her title. But I'll let you, do the review because you were very excited to talk about this.
Well, I was excited about the title, Hymen and Peckers, because I thought that's got to be funny. However, it was the worst story I've ever read in my life. Now, just want you to get the idea of how bad this is. Because as a freelance writer, I have been paid by publishers over the years to read shitty writing from other people.
And fix it.
And fix it. So, hello, this is worse than anything else I've ever read. People in New Delhi that don't even write English that well because it is not their first language, write better than this story.
That bad, huh?
This is the shittiest story I've ever read. Now, the first thing that's wrong with it is it's not erotica. I found this for free on Smashwords, and it is under the erotica category. However, it is not erotica. Now, that's not Smashwords' problem. They let authors identify things how they choose to identify them. The author is full of shit. It's not erotica. It's romance. Anyway.
So basically free is too much money for it.
Free is not even... They should actually pay you to read it. This author, the main characters are two girls and a gay guy who just graduated from high school. And the author switches points of view between the three of them every chapter. I have no idea who the fuck is telling the story. None. Zero. I have to go back and check every so often to be like, who the fuck's even doing this? So that was awful. If I was going to try to masturbate to this, there's absolutely no way. So, and of course, the whole fact that it's like kids that just graduated from high school and they need to take time off before they, as bunch of hipster cunts that have never actually had a job and they already need time off to explore themselves. So
that's usually a problem in today's world. All these youngsters out there, you never see a 23-year-old out there working as hard as you do every week, or working like selling the Wilbur on Times Square.
Right, they got no hustle.
They got no work.
They got no hustle.
All they care about is their like summer shanty. And the IPA that's coming out this week, and working like 32 hours and carpal tunnel syndrome,
and complaining about it. So I'm 28 pages in, and there's no sex, not even a whiff of sex. So, and the hint, another writing problem. This author likes to type out text messages as conversation, which now that text messaging is a socially acceptable way to converse, that's okay. But if you're going to use that in writing, don't spell it the way people misspell things in text messages. Apparently, that's okay. So the letter C and the letter U and that kind of stuff. Yeah, I don't want to have to read that and decipher that in my head. Spell it the fuck correctly, please.
Right. Hey, Shakespeare, listen up. Jesus Christ.
And then I got to page 35, and I checked to see who was telling the story. And this time it was the gay dude, and he was about to get it on. At least that's what the story said. And he told the hot bartender, blow me, and I thought, okay, here it comes. It's about time. I've waited for it. Then he referred to himself, to his own penis, as uber long.
Well, we do like to ride Uber, but
uber long. And I said, no, I'm done. I can't. I'm going to throw up all of my delicious Taco Bell.
Literary vomit, I believe you referred to it as.
Yeah. So I'm giving it it doesn't even register on the boner scale.
No, we don't. You know what? Romance is nowhere near the boner scale. We just mock it incessantly, don't we?
I had written down that the book sucks so much donkey dick
that it should move to Tijuana and get a job there.
That donkeys have stopped going to hookers in El Salvador for blowjobs.
Right, that's not good.
It's bad writing, bad story, bad editing, a bad idea. All of it was bad. Hyman and Peckers by R. Lorelei. Whoever this person is, they are findable on other supposed erotica things out there. A lot of collaborative works with other authors. Whoever R. Lorelei is a dipshit for writing this book.
Right. Hey, Lorelei. Idiot.
Worst romance, worst book ever. That's all I have to say.
Okay, well, we have two more exciting things. Everything we talk about is exciting to me for some reason.
Right, that's why you can't keep your pants up.
Right. I'm sporting wood right now. But, Dominated by the Babysitters, which was a book you just put up in the last week, right?
It was. It's new this week, actually.
And you want to give a little synopsis of it? I don't think we need to do a reading, but a little synopsis of it, just so that the listeners can know what it's about so they can go ahead and buy it.
Dominated by the Babysitters is a twist. Typically, any kind of femdom erotica, it's usually with a woman who is the same age or perhaps even older than her submissive male. In this case, I've got a just barely legal teen and her barely legal friends.
Always 18.
Right? Wink.
Like yesterday they turned
Wink,
18.
wink. 3 hot teenage girls who decide to dominate the dude down the street because he's a jerk and he gets the babysitter fired. You know why he gets her fired? Because he wants to fuck her and she says no.
Well, that doesn't seem right at all. First off, babysitter should just say yes.
Well, he didn't really try. He didn't put on very good moves.
Don't got the moves, you don't get the play.
Right? So, anyway, dominated by the babysitters. Hot, hot, hot. Lots of strap-on play. Lots of bondage. Lots of golden showers.
Sweet. Sounds like a good read.
It is.
So, now we're very excited that Undercover Sissy, which came out about 2 weeks ago, I think.
The first installment, Undercover Sissy and the Officer and the Gentleman. That was the first one. Came out 2 weeks ago, yes.
Right. It broke the top 100 on Amazon's transgender erotica, so it's just flying up the charts, isn't it?
It is.
Right.
It's hot and sticky.
Right. We like hot and sticky. So.
And that's more of a typical femdom situation where his boss is the female dominant woman of his life. She is also sissifying him and feminizing him and rubbing it in his face the whole time.
Right. That sounds like good read.
It is a good read. And so is the follow-up, which is A Girl Meets a Gangster.
Right, because the Undercover Sissy's the girl, right?
Of course.
Right, yeah. Not so undercover anymore.
Well, he's enjoying it now.
Right. Embrace it. And so now our last item of the week is our listener question. And Chanel, I like to read stories about bondage, and more specifically about having my wife tie me up. I don't know if she would be into this or not. How can I broach this topic without her thinking I'm a freak? Sincerely, hope to be bound in Cleveland.
I hope to be bound. The easiest way to broach the subject would be to do something very nonchalant and doesn't look too scary. Like go to Lover's Lane or somewhere else where they sell kind of lame toys. And I'm only saying that because later on, if you really get into bondage, you would never buy anything there. But go to Lover's Lane and get some of those furry handcuffs and bring them home. That's the easiest thing to do.
Somewhere.
Right? Because if you come home with, a full rubber bodysuit and a gas mask, she's going to flip her shit.
That's how I invested my 401k from like 2003.
So do something nice and cutesy like furry handcuffs. And if she likes that, then go to the hardware store. Save yourself some money. Buy nylon tarp rope.
That'll work.
And you have yourself a time.
Right. I mean, I think the big thing is that you just open communication, right? We preach that a lot on the Chanel Ashby,
well,
which can be very, very hard.
Exactly. I mean, it's easy to say open communication, but most of the time, the one person that it's the most difficult to have that kind of open communication with can be your spouse. So I say buy furry handcuffs and see what happens.
Right? Start slow, listeners.
Right.
So, well, this has been a great show this week, and hopefully y'all enjoyed it as much as we did. And, of course, we welcome all questions and comments to chrisplove69@gmail.com. And please, of course, do not send any naked pictures of you or pictures with your rope tied up in your bed.
Or your grandma and her cookies.
Or your grandma and her cookies with their saggy titties. To chrisplove69@gmail.com. And y'all have a good week, and we look forward to talking to you next week. Bye, Chanel.
Bye, Chris P.